Hello everybody, welcome back as ever to Building Blocks, where we code Minecraft mods live on camera, and usually things go horrifically wrong. Fortunately, this time around I think we're mostly just doing small things. Doesn't necessarily mean that things aren't going to go wrong, but we'll see. Sometimes it's fun just to watch me actually fix stuff out. So, as I say, I've been mostly working on small things for the past week. There's a few bugs that I need to sort out. The majority, if you haven't seen the latest Voss episode of the configuration requirements on the pacts are configured up. So you can now do a whole ton of stuff with them. There's a bunch more that I still need to do. I still need to convert the spell list system to being player data rather than item data, but that's probably going to be in the next version, not the one I'm working on currently. And the first thing that I'm working on is actually finishing up the disguises used by the witch, which is the character on the left here. I was thinking Lord or Master, but both of those are gendered terms and are not necessarily representative of the witch. The ruler of the changelings, the progenitor of the changelings. Yeah.
What would you do if someone by chance dropped £100,000 donation on you?
I think keel over first. Is that a threat? But let me see. Rhetorical question, what would I do? Well, I'd probably pay off this building. That'd be a good start. I imagine my current landlord would really love me for that. And then I would probably overhaul my hardware, because this hasn't been really overhauled in 6 or 7 years, so who knows, But anyways, so yeah, the witch has the let me start over from the lore here. The witch is a archfey. That means they are a very powerful entity, essentially a boss or a god among fey, and they were sealed away inside of the dark woods for a very, very, very long while. And they're essentially the archfey of trickery, the god of shape-shifting and whatnot, which is where the changelings come into. We can see a bunch of creatures over there, only half of which are what they actually appear. They're all, the rest are all changelings. And consequently, the witch is similarly a shapeshifter. And if you look away for long enough and look back at them, they'll have changed what they appear to be. This is the current outstanding appearance, which is the crone that I'm currently working on texturing. And they also have one that looks like a xenomorph queen. They have one that looks like a fox, which is very interesting for this version, because foxes aren't in 1.12. They also have like an elf one that I'm probably going to heavily retool in future, as well as their more regal, refined self, which is this, but actually like paid a visit to the salon recently. But yeah, so we're starting off just by finishing up the texturing on this. There is a little bit of glow applied already. So they've got one glowy eye there. This one we're probably going to hide behind a lot of hair and such. And they also have their ponytail, because gotta have the ponytail. This character is based, this particular NPC is based on an actual character that I have had for quite some time. And they're being added to various oddities as a little bit of gratuitous self-promotion, I guess? I don't know. So, yeah, a little bit of gratuitous fan service, that's the phrase. So since we are working on texturing, we can just leave this open and just reboot the resource packs every time we need to. And then we just need to have this open, which is Glimpse. If you're not familiar, usually I've done stuff in a program called GIMP. But the people behind that are not great. So this is a fork, essentially, that is most of the same things, but with a few tweaks and upgrades and whatnot, and I've been getting to grips with it, and it's great, so yeah. So here we have the current texture, we have the arms over here. I could put the arms and the legs onto two separates so that the left can be distinct from the right, but I don't think it's necessarily necessary for this visual. It is certainly something that happens with the main witch costume, I guess. Appearance is what they've been called. One interesting little detail here is it's mostly obscured by the ponytail, but if you actually get a good look at the back of this particular appearance, this symbol is significant in terms of various oddities, because that is the arcane symbol for trickery. Which is something you can find out if you actually do, like, mess around with the inscribing system as it has been overhauled recently. So it's just sort of a nice little detail there. It's like, I wonder if I should trust somebody who has the symbol for magic trickery on their back. Why not use paint? I mean, I think modern paint can do transparency. Old paint, the last time I used it certainly couldn't, but I know paint.net can. But anyways, we are mostly done with this, so I am pretty much just adding some noise to it, making it look a little bit more worn, a little bit stained, ruffled perhaps, and that doesn't take very much. Just take the block colors and dodge and burn. There are better ways, I know. I am not a pixel artist. I mean, Pixel's the one that's way over there, and I certainly didn't make them. No, it's not all, but no, it's not. But all you can think of is Sailor Mercury's symbol from Sailor Moon. The symbol for Mercury, I think, is actually that. Let me have a quick check. Image. Mercury. Symbol. Yeah, it's very close, at the very least. It's not cool. I don't know if that's the same symbol, but it might well be. The arcane symbols in various oddities are heavily drawn from actual, like, alchemical symbols, and they loved using the planets a lot. So who knows? Might well be. Oh yes, the crone also has a crick in their back, so they do actually have a full-length torso. It stops about there, at the bottom of that belt. But it's actually going up there as well, because there's this about 15 degree, I think, tilt in it. 15, 16 degree, something like that. So, a lot of little details here. It is the symbol for Mercury? Yeah, I thought so. Okay, so once we do that, we export it to override the existing one, refresh the files in here so that this, so that Forge actually knows what's happening, and then we should be able to reboot it with F3 and D, F function, free, and tango, if you like, to refresh the texture in-game. Apparently Wendy's the food chain is streaming Animal Crossing. Okay. Yeah, this this piece at the front is referred to in the code as tunic. It's essentially meant to be a sign that their clothing isn't necessarily well fitting, it's baggy, that kind of thing, in places. But I will say a fair bit of this is inspired by Baba Yaga, which seems appropriate. Here we have one of my original pieces of inspirational reference by Anna Dusova on ArtStation, which looks gorgeous. Like, oh, that's beautiful, that's perfect. And then I found this, which is from a game called Smite, which deals in a lot of mythological characters, especially more recently. And they recently added Baba Yaga, and I absolutely loved their visual take on Baba Yaga. So here we have also the actual, like, reference model for it, and she looks gorgeous or beautiful might be a misleading statement, but she's very much in, like, theme for what we're actually, like, going for with this particular outfit. So I'm using her as a degree of inspiration as well. I finally got to see the last vampire VOD and you were heckin' adorable and yawing over the NPCs. Which ones? Like, I'm sure there was a few. She's inspiring? Yeah, she's an independent, like, what would be the phrase here? Entrepreneur. She's a single woman who's like entrepreneurial. She's like aged. She's not like young and hip and whatnot. She's not classically beautiful, but she gets stuff done. Damn it, she knows what she wants in the world and she takes it. There's actually probably stuff that you could take positively from a character like Baba Yaga. Like pretty much anybody that gets on her bad side is getting heavily screwed over. Ain't nobody messing with Baba Yaga. The two in Pembroke? Oh, right, yes, I know who you mean now. Yes, the disfigured soldier from World War I and the woman who believes she's a vampire. Falsely, I should stress in that game. Yes, I know who you mean now. But yeah, generally speaking, you don't want to just use dodge and burn to add your detail. But for this particular thing, especially for adding like subtle details, for making your clothes look a little bit more unkempt, dodge and burn works. If you were actually trying to make your stuff like have good appearances, you would probably use actual like palette colors and such. But that's not what we're going for here. We're not looking for high quality. In fact, quite the reverse. I'd also like to use dodge and burn noise to just make things look fluffy. Seems to work. There's one fable where Baba Yaga raised a child. Something tells me that will not be in the next John Wick movie. Baba Yaga is an entrepreneur, an aged unmarried woman, and a mother. Well, John Wick movie? Yes, in the John Wick series, which I think is 3 movies going on 4 now, I don't remember. Keanu Reeves' character, John Wick, is nicknamed Baba Yaga. Because the dude is scarily mythologically good at making sure people die. In the most absurd of way, like, contexts and such. And I feel like I need to change this. So let's up to there. And let's find ourselves a color, because the version of this that has the more regal appearance and such is far more it's far more like light blue rather than white. White looks nice, but for them this is white. Let's just add ourselves a layer. Yep, good. Okay. Dial the opacity to a point that we're comfy with. There, I think. No. Oh, am I on the wrong? Yeah, I'm on the wrong thing, that's why. That's classic horror story. When you're doing artwork, am I on the right layer? If the answer is no, you're gonna have a bad time. Okay, so let's set to about there. Okay. And then on this layer, I think we need to darken things a bit. Which we can do from hue saturation quite helpfully. Baba Yaga can almost be equated to Fae. Yeah, very easily, very easily. She's Slavic. Whereas the Fae tend to be more of a Gaelic kind of thing. But yeah, she absolutely could be described as Fae. So yeah, we're trying to go for a very washed out kind of look. Washed out and dirty kind of look here. Okay. And let's shift that up. We actually don't need that anymore. I can probably just delete that one. Okay. Yep. Merge visible layers. And now we got that right on that layer. Nice. Now, at least one fanfic that had her in it where she was actually sister to Summer and Winter. I guess she could be considered to be a kind of autumn. Okay. That is like one of the least visible parts of this texture right now, but... Oh well. That's still stark white. Something went wrong there. Did I not? Yes, Crone. Refresh. Go. How the Fae personality transcend geographical boundaries. I mean, almost everybody knows a trickster, I think. So to a certain point, that's going to be like that's going to be like something that occurs in pretty much every culture. There's children exist in every culture, ideally speaking. The capacity for lying exists in every culture. Like mischief, falsehoods, that kind of thing. They're always going to exist. You're pretty much always going to end up with some kind of trickster character. Might not necessarily be someone who's malevolent. Might not necessarily be someone who's like benign. Might be someone who's both frequently. Fair more than just tricky. Yes, there are people that bargain. There's someone you go to for help who will not necessarily give you the help that you want, or in the way that you want it. And they're frequently tied with nature. It's interesting you end up with characters frequently in the same or similar veins throughout a lot of cultures. Okay, so there's... do I like that? Does that look good to me? I think so, I think so. Okay, so... now we need to do something about your face. Because your face is still pretty much directly drawn just from the old skin that I made many years ago. Many years ago. Now, we don't want to take that too far from what this looks like, because they are meant to be the same person, or very much. It's a small world after all. I know that song. I know that song unfortunately well. Now, I can either hide it entirely with the headwear layer, or I can hide it actually on the head layer, which will make it literally imperceptible. I think I prefer doing it with the headwear layer there. It's more like really long hair. And let's just create another layer above that so that we can undo really easily if we need to. So let's see, like there. And it is 5 down, 3 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 3 across. So that should hide the hair, or the eye at the very least. Let's add a bit more to that. Just bulk this out a little bit, I guess, would be the phrase. Okay, and yeah, let's get rid of that. Yep, delete layer. Just because we don't need that anymore. That's the reference I had for the arcane symbol. And then there are dragons. Yeah, dragons are a weirder one. Because those cultures that had no interaction at all, but that somehow still have dragons. Probably needs to add some like shading behind that, just to make it even darker underneath there. What is interesting is the distinctions between different cultures' dragons. A bunch of my family members have started doing like a weekly quiz thing. We just meet up on like Zoom. Yes, I know. And just like do a quiz every week. And one of the questions recently was, what is the difference? What do European dragons have that Asian dragons don't? Long story short. The answer to which is wings, because Asian dragons don't need them, in short. What is that one? What's that pixel for, I wonder? Is that meant to be somewhere else? Mayhaps. This skin, by the way, that this is drawn from, was made in like 2012. So, not everything's great. And giant lizards are just universal? Like, honestly, if you were to ask me... If you were to ask me to give you something that indicated some kind of, like... cross-species thing that we'd somehow forgotten or whatnot, I would probably say dragons are a good start. Because we have a lot of things that we could just, like, magic up by virtue of being humans looking for an explanation in the natural world, but dragons don't do that. Dragons are absurd. What's the difference between Chinese and Japanese dragons? Good question. I don't know very much about China. Definitely don't know very much about Chinese mythology. Brightness, there you are. Do something like that. Let's see how that looks. This is gonna end up looking very like emo a little bit, I think. But that does look better, I think. I almost want to make this eye look like it's just straight up missing. Lip. Long dragon, black dragon, yellow dragon, pearl dragon? There are four dragons, gods. Yeah, it's complicated. I only have a tiny part of that, that's weird. Ah, of course. guess probably from the first one here. Okay, there we go. And then from there, I can clone the rest of this face. Drop it there. Okay, and that gives me an idea of what will be actually obscured. Excited for you finally getting a desktop that can run games that, like, more games than Minecraft, unlike your old MacBook. Ooh. Hey Marsh, how you doing? I feel like they maybe need to be a little bit on the less side here. I was watching Power streams? Parv is alive? Burying the lead there a little bit. Ah, it's been ages since I gave someone else a like a dream apple that ultimately ended up being used on Parv. Is Parv terrible? I don't know anymore. You think Parv is still good? It depends who he associates with, really. The thing is that someone did a full documentary of dragons. Can they exist, and how is it possible for? I've seen the same thing from mermaids. Okay, that's looking better. Let's just see in the bright of day here. It's a little less like an emo fringe now. Still kind of an emo fringe, but let's be real, this probably would count. Oh, I'm an idiot, that's why. It's like, why isn't that changing color? Oh, because it's on a... I'm doing it on a layer where that's transparent, that's why. I don't know how to say thank you in Chinese. No idea. I mean, I guess depending on which conspiracy theories you listen to, that could be useful. Hate having online lessons, got so used to just doing your own thing at Easter break. Oh. Unfortunately, tis the realm. Don't know if you want to. I mean, go ahead. I don't know if you can... Will you be typing it in the actual, like... alphabet, or not? Now, if I wanted to do this a bit more subtly, I would actually expand it slightly beyond in like the downwards direction, and then change the opacity. Which I might actually do. Might actually do. Which we do in a similar fashion. By copying that onto there, plunking it there, reducing this to just the pixels that we actually want. Repeating our brightness contrast trick. And changing the opacity. So now instead of having that very sharp edging on the shadow, we actually now get a little bit more actual shading to it. I'm not sure I like, actually, looking at it. Maybe shrink how much is in that darkness as well. Or maybe just have no shading at all, just have it be the empty eye socket. I do think this is pretty nice. I think this is nearly done. But the only thing I could maybe think to add to this specifically would be some water droplets. Looks weird because it's the only shading on the face. It's also the only thing that would be in shade on the face. I can do this better. I can absolutely do this better. That. That was definitely the wrong layer. Okay. Let's dial that down. Angle spacing is fine. Smooth stroke, there you are. And let's posterize that a bit so it's a bit more consistent. You wouldn't use black? I mean, yeah. Get shadow on your forehead, under your chin, and your eye sockets? I mean, yes. But this person's entire face is in fact one singular cube, so little irrelevant. Okay, let's see if that looks better. I think that looks better. Yeah, okay. Do I want to add anything more to the heads? You still think I should shade the hairline? I think it's nice where it is. Also, if your hair is in a ponytail, your hair is usually pulled like back. Yeah. Okay. So next we could change up the ponytail a little bit. I kind of like the idea of like replacing that with like sticks and other things, just like putting like straight up branches or whatever in your hair. But yeah, I think we mostly just want the particles. Okay. So let me see if we go to anti-patron witch. Where are your particles? Because I know you got them. At least I could have sworn you had them. I might be thinking of the changelings. There's the wing flapping. I know somebody's got these. What am I thinking of? Okay, well, let's turn the appearance customizing on. Reboots. Forgot stream was today? Okay. Well, no worries, Dusty. Time is a very strange concept at this particular moment. Oh, I also forgot to... I forgot that's on the same layer. That's on the same layer. Okay. Where's duplicates? Duplicate, there you are. Doesn't matter too much because of how it deals with, because of how skins deal with that, but... Oh, you out to sleep, Marsh? Night night. So that is what the witch looks like when they're being all regal and fancy. And that's what they look like when they're not. Rather convenient, it's completely random. So they might look like this when you find them in the woods. They might look in their more regal fashion. Thank you, Chinese. Oh, okay. Nope, I did see you there, Burr. Sure. I probably sound worse than like the cast of Firefly at speaking Chinese, but... What a change. Yeah, it's sort of like you in week 1 of quarantine, you in week 3. Or put it in reverse. Be careful who you called ugly in middle school. Wow, Dusty is key smashing so hard that they've gone onto the number row. But yeah, if you hadn't noticed, here we have one glowy eye, and the other one we actually have two. And I'm pretty sure if I look away for long enough, we'll actually see the other one come back. Nope, a little longer. There we are. Is there two? I think there's two. But I think they're the same color as the actual skin, so they glow in the dark, but it's mostly noticeable only when they're really dark. Let's find out. But yeah, if you didn't know, the weighting is very much that if they're not in the regal outfit, as they are right now, then they will go back to that when they're shuffling. I just need to try and build this around you in such a fashion that I don't stop looking at you. Oh, do you not have your glow? Interesting, you should have your eyes glowing. Your eyes should be very glowy right now. Did I change the name of the file? No, if I changed the name of the file and didn't update it in the codes, then you would just be, like, black and purple. So what's causing the lack of glow here? Because we definitely had that with the crone outfit. For an English-speaking dude that hasn't learned a lot of hasn't learned a lot would be still exaggerating how much I know, which is 0. I know more Japanese than I do that. And I'm not great at Japanese either. Okay. So what's going on there? Do you at least have the right ponytail? Yes, yes you do, because it's much brighter than the other one. Yeah, that's fine. We know the other one's fine as well. Yes, that's correct. Just looking for everything that could possibly be going wrong. Seems fine, really. Right, let's see you get a different model and see if that has any problems. You know one Chinese word now? I mean, technically it's you, I guess, but... Jinx, Phaera. You're being a dick on purpose, aren't you? That's just kind of your MO. The most of the Chinese words you know are from Sagwa, the Chinese Siamese cat. Is that the show where she lives in a castle? I can't recall. Like some kind of palace. It definitely works on you. So why am I not seeing it for the other one? What could be causing that? Or breaking that, as the case may be. Thing is, it's the same... It's the exact same build for how the crone's eye glows. So... Is the right file? Are those maybe in the wrong place? Could that be it? Let's see, I'll open it inside of the thing and see if I can find out. $10, $12, $13, $12 is both eyes, that those are in the right place then. Oh, right, yeah, you're now doing everything. This one, I'm really not happy with how this one came out. I think I'm gonna redo that when I give the, default changelings their model. It's a show about a cat, of course. you would have watched it when it was airing. Oh. It's like turning away while someone does a costume change. Yeah. Interesting. I wonder what could be causing that. Like, there's really no meaningful distinction between these two. Also, let me know if they do the thing. Oh, they did the thing. They did the thing. Phaera, if you're wondering, that was the thing. Nope, I cannot see why that's not... why that is seemingly, I should say, not working. Maybe we just need to make it brighter. In which case, here's the file. So let's add that as a layer, so I can see where it should be. Lock that. And send that semi-transparent, just so I can see what I've actually drawn. Brightness. I'll bring that up. In fact, just to make sure we actually are seeing things going, I'm actually going to invert those colors. Because that is a really easy and obvious way of finding out if indeed the texture is being applied. It's interesting that staring at something whilst your textures are reloading evidently doesn't count as rendering them. Also, yes, I know that's up there, before anybody says anything. Okay, we'll be back in like 10 minutes when I find out if this worked. And for the record, they turned into a fox. Welcome back, everybody. So, as you can see, we have now got the actual, like, regal witch, human witch, I think is how it's actually described, skin up and model, and it clearly is missing the glow. So, we need to find out exactly why that is, because it should actually have, like, bright orange and yellow on it, but clearly does not. So, I need to figure out exactly what's causing that, and, gotta say I don't really know, because the only thing that could make sense is that it's not triggering the predicate, the conditional that actually causes that to appear, except that it's the exact same thing that makes its ponytail appear, and that clearly is right there. So this is weird. This is quite weird. Let me just... Okay, then. Yeah. Let's just divide these into the glows, shall we? Ponytails, glows, other things. Ah, yes. Human witch. Yeah, I mean, red maker by my canon, but... Okay, I'm also just gonna take out elf for the moment, just so that there's fewer things that you can turn into. And that's the same, I'm gonna redo elf a fair bit. What I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the elf outfit be like some form of like regal fae, like courtier kind of style fae, and then I'll have something similar for that for the actual changelings, so they look a bit more, they look a bit nicer. So still kind of elfy, but not quite actually. Okay. So if we take out the witch's ponytail in that disguise, then we should know if we're actually like triggering that in the slightest bit. And there's a problem. What is the problem? Right. I'm trying to think. This is one of the. This is literally just a glow line. I actually don't need this at all. In fact, this is mostly just done to make it be nice and not like mess up a whole ton. You're gonna complain about dead code. Don't care. Not right now. Dinner would have been better warm. I mean, you're not wrong. There. Couple of warnings for dead code. Don't care. So let's see. Yep, that's definitely the right shades. And we did refresh, but I'll just hit refresh there as well. There's literally no distinction here between the human glow and the crone glow. The only difference is what appearance they have to be wearing to actually trigger it, and what texture they use. Which I should really rename there, but I will. Right now, it's fine. How are you to know that 45 seconds wouldn't be enough? Crane song? Song of the Crane? Who knows? So yeah, that's... No ponytail, okay. And if we look around, look away for about 10 seconds. Probably should have taken out the fox as well. I was honestly pleasantly surprised to see Crane still alive. I mean, why would Crane be dead, is the better question. Yeah, you've got your glow. And your ponytail, so we know that part's working. Okay. So what's going wrong with your texture? So I'm going to actually rename this. And if I just remove the .png, it'll actually register as a missing texture. And the only thing that we did was invert the colors, so we can turn those back quite happily. A person can be alive even if their online presence is dead. Crane's up to us, up to a bunch of stuff. Similarly, get rid of Fox. Any problems from that? No, good. Like, it should be very happy. What we've ascertained right now is that the is human part should be working fine. So then the only other thing that could be going wrong is the actual, like, resource location, but if the resource location is going wrong, we should not find the right file, and it should just be, like, black and purple. The conditional's obviously working fine. It's very odd indeed. Were you pleasantly surprised to see Crane streaming? Yeah. I saw that. It's been a while, but yeah. Let me see. Sept, I believe, has a... Okay, good. You found a missing texture. It's not covering the entirety of the view, though, which is interesting. Yeah, it's only covering, like, one leg. Interesting. Okay. That almost suggests that you're rendering a different model. One leg, one arm. If we check your texture, though, you do have 2 arms. I will give you that. You do have 2 legs. Okay. But you don't... Well, actually, no, you do have 2 heads, I will say. I was about to say you don't have 2 heads, but you actually do, because one of them has to be, like, truncated for the mouth effect. So why don't we see... why don't we see the eyes? Like, the head should be doing the same thing. So there's the ponytail, there's the glow, and there's the standard texture, which is just underneath it. Does anyone else feel like the missing texture is giving Witch a nice glow effect? I mean, it's meant to, except it's meant to actually have a texture. Okay, we got that. So it is turning on. Good. It is looking for a texture. Good. It is not showing the glowing eyes. Not so good. Why? This was working before, is the annoying thing. We need the glowing eyes. The glowing eyes are, like, aesthetic and nice. Is there a comma in the glowing eyes part of the code? No, because then it would, if there was a comma breaking it, then it would be breaking it in the crone as well. And it's not breaking in the crone. Like, the crone is using identical code. And they're working just fine. Like, that's what's happening right there, is the glow. So why isn't it happening? Why isn't it happening for you? If I put that in a different spot on the texture, then maybe we can at least find out if other things work. So if we do that, it's a complete mess, but we can undo it. Refresh the texture, which now includes all of that nonsense. Reload. Then we should see something, which might be a clue. If we only see it on one arm, for instance, we know it's not. It's to do with the texture. The glowing eye looks really rad. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to go for. Nope. Okay. So it's the texture somehow. The texture is somehow being misapplied. It's like it's been shunted down into the left somehow. Next question, how? That doesn't make any sense at all. Could it be a different size? A different texture size? Let's see, that's 64 by 64. That is also 64 by 64, so it's not that. In fact, that is the same exact size, I believe, as the one used by the crone. Yeah. They're identical sizes, so again... Do I have the positions wrong somehow? They're using the exact same model. That's why it maps to the actual, like, body parts, is because it's the same model rendered with a different texture. This is bizarre. Intriguing. Thank you, Corbin. Yeah, I don't know why that's happening. That's very strange. It makes no sense at all, literally. There's always something, isn't there? I mean, one thing I can do is just add stuff like that to maybe give me an idea of where it thinks the head should be. Or actually, just alternatively, just render this, I guess. Just give it that. Because then I'll at least be able to see if anything is in the right or wrong place, because it'll just be glowing, essentially. Okay, so do that, flip that, reload. So now we can see it will actually draw a texture. It's just, for whatever reason, drawing it very off. Okay, that is pretty much entirely right, actually. Because if it was off, we'd be seeing things that didn't match up at all. But here we actually see pretty much the whole thing glowing. Okay, if I sneak into here, it's a little hard to tell. Might be better off just removing that part from here. Nope. That's what I want. Just make that head go away. Much as we did with the other one. So this just raises further questions, basically. Off with their head, no, off with their, like, bang. That's about it. Nope. Knowing my luck, they'll turn into the xenomorph. Nope. Could you kindly? I wonder if it's related to the headwear layer? Was the head was the bang does anyone remember was the bang glowing before we got rid of it in the texture file? Because if the bang was glowing, then it might be that it just wasn't rendering properly. Because there's some, like, there's some data here. Dusty says yes, Forbidden says no. And the only way I can think of that would be if there was actually actual information over here. Let's run a test. And the test that we can run is by just removing the headwear layer from the actual head part here. So where... Headwear. There you are. If we just remove that from rendering. The bang won't be there at all, but we might be able to see the glow in the head. I hate graphics. Graphics is not my forte. But if it shows up now, then we know it's a transparency issue with the texture. Why that's not appearing with the crone, I don't know exactly right now, but we'll find out. Fortunately, it defaults to human witch when we actually first load in, so there's always that. Okay, head is now glowy, so it is related to the headwear layer. The only difference between the crone model and the human model is that the headwear layer is part of biped head, whereas in the whereas in the human model it's part of it. It's a different model renderer. I wonder if that's the problem. In which case, we should be able to fix that. Why? I'm fairly certain it used to work, so why it's suddenly decided to start breaking now, I don't know. Okay, so for the headwear, we just take that, add that to there, and then presumably we do the same thing to the smile head, which is similarly about 8x8, but yeah, the smile head is when they do the wide smile, but not the really wide smile, which is the dual head. So if we put those there, and then we don't have to care about the headwear layer. That's literally the only difference. As far as I can tell, that is the only distinction between the two. The forbidden smile head? No, it's not forbidden at all, it's just very rare. quite why the headwear layer is its own model renderer and not just a box added to the head. I don't know. It's what Minecraft does by default. Okay, so now I've got glowy head and not glowy flick. Okay, flick. Bang. Right. So if we revert that back, it should be what it should actually look like. Of course, they'll probably change what their appearance is whilst I'm refreshing the resources, but yep. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I should have made this a shorter timer. 9, 10. Did I not refresh the texture? I evidently didn't. Oh. Invert this one. Overwrite over the glow. Yep. Refresh in there. Refresh in here. And wait a few seconds more. It's a nice feature, but it is such a pain in the butt. Much like the witch, I guess. There we go. Oh, thanks, mate. So, yeah, evidently it was just, like, because we had, the head layer, the headwear layer on a different thing. Huh. Interesting. I'll have to bear that in mind for future things. What art program is that? This is Glimpse. As in to glimpse the unknown. It is a fork of GIMP, which is made by terrible people, in short, and has most of the same features, plus some long overdue upgrades. Okay, so now that that's fixed, we can plug everything else back in. Finally. So yeah, Regal, so Crone Witch has the one glowy eye, Regal Witch has both eyes glowy. Yeah. Okay, we are done with this for the time being. And that is one thing that I can tick off of this big list, which is add crone appearance to the witch. Ah, that wasn't even something... That bug wasn't even something I was trying to fix, but oh boy. Okay. So, what do we want to do next? I feel like we've done enough texturing for one evening, about 90 minutes of that. So we're going to go for fix the consumable pact starter, because currently it don't do none. And oh yes, we can turn everything else here on. It's going to have complaints up until I hit the part that's actually need them. I'm so glad I made layer conditional. It makes a lot of this a lot easier, actually. Just make the layer always do the thing, and then just control when it does the thing over here in the actual renderer. So much easier. Wonder what a space gelato would taste like. Slightly beige, which I believe is the color of the known universe. Okay. So we don't need that anymore. Yeah, I would like to add some water droplets, but that is dependent upon being a client-side thing, and I don't know if I can check the renderer in the code of the server. So, But okay, so whole bunch of stuff over here. Oh yes, I did add a new endgame, by the by, which is called Infestation. Because I checked, well, I've been having a whole ton of trouble thinking up endgames, which is why I keep asking people if there's anything they can think of. And it only occurred to me a few days ago, in fact, that there is a book of the many that I have over there on my Dungeons & Dragons sourcebook shelf, which I collected when I was a teenager, and they're still very useful, called Elder Evils. And the whole shtick of that is, the world is ending. In ways that increase in intensity. So, first up, I implemented intensity, so that there is, let's see, before endgame, there's that, where, oh, this would be the bus, wouldn't it? So, there is a thing known as intensity now, and as however high it goes up is dependent upon each individual endgame. And for, I think, the Lightling one, it goes up to 4, I want to say. In-game active, where's intensity down here? Yes, get intensity. Intensity for the Lightling goes up to 4. Intensity for Infestation, I believe, goes to 6. And basically, for every single time an ongoing endgame gets triggered, that intensity goes up 1 up to the max. So it's always at least 1 and goes up to whatever. In the case of the Lightlings, that means more Lightlings spawn every time that you break a log or a leaf on a tree or something inside of a forest biome. In the case of the Infestation biome, however, what it actually does is increases the likelihood that you're going to spawn silverfish when you break any kind of stone block anywhere, up to, I think, 90%. It's like a 15% chance per stage of the intensity on that particular endgame. Those silverfish aren't just silverfish. Phaera, you're gonna hate me even more in a hot second when I explain this. So it spawns 1 to 3 silverfish randomly, not all the time, but randomly. And those silverfish also get stronger. Because here, on the Entity Join World event, because this one just spawns silverfish, this one actually gives them buffs. So they get more health, they deal more damage, and after intensity 4 or higher, they also spawn with poison and regen at relatively high intensities, and that also negate each other functionally. But the silverfish code that spawns and summons others doesn't care, so it still tries to rally allies from the environment. That's when that is when you have triggered this endgame 4 times or more, by the by. So at that point, you should expect this to be bad news. But the bigger deal is that when you hit max intensity on the Infestation at 6, they have I think it's 32 health, and they deal 12 points of damage per attack. That's the bigger problem, really. The actual intensity of the potion effects is not that high. They're not guaranteed to spawn silverfish every single time they take damage. They try, but they don't necessarily succeed. I have literally tested this in a world of stone, and they barely got anything. Hope the rewards for that patron are worth the endgame. Up to you. This is not an endgame that is used in the shipping pacts, but you can absolutely use it if you desire. Endgames are meant to be impactful. Yeah, it's plus 4 health and plus 2 attack per level of intensity. 4 times 6 is 24, they start with 8, so they have 32 health. And again, that increments as you go up. So the first one, they just have 12 health. That's it. But yeah, if you want to deal with that, then that's an endgame that is shipping with 5.3. But anyways, so let's see, item pact starter. So there was a problem which came up with the right click here, and I think it might have been the can use starter function that might have caused it. Let's find out. So various oddities.log. Think both me and Cam would strangle you if you implement that endgame for the patron servers. Oh lordy no. I say, endgames aren't necessarily meant to be the world is on fire and everything is dying, but they certainly could be. Like, they're called endgames for a reason. It's just a matter, like, they're also not going to be necessarily evil. The one that I have currently planned for the Phoenix pact, which is the third default pack that ships, is just you get a Phoenix pet. Because I can't quite do that with the like reward system and such. Like the end games are very much things you can't do with rewards normally, and they're usually a lot more complex stuff as well. Let's see. Tried to start pact. Presumably I can have a get pact, yes. Pact name from item, that's what I need. You get treed by 30 silverfish, you see how well you take silverfish in that one. Oh dear. Get it from item, and that would be held stack. See, can use starter is has compound, and it's key than that, then yeah, otherwise true. So you should always be able to use them. So what was the problem? That's the next question. Let's just see if that's the issue. Neither Cam nor I were in anything stronger than iron. Oh dear. I think silverfish turn up in World of Madness 2HC, so if you're watching that series, youtube.com/remembercomic, and you can absolutely see some silverfish up here. But yeah, the idea of infestation is that bugs are taking over, and they're everywhere. They're everywhere, man. They're in the goddamn walls. Which I have to say, very thankful they're no longer in mine. I haven't seen ants in a while now. Okay, so let's pop out here. Here's the Faustian contract, which is the third type. I had a thing on the list here of add a third generic pact starter item, and I added 7 instead because I made these data values. Okay. So I right click this and nothing happens. So what? Could be because of that. Have you had rain recently? No, we haven't had rain in months. Or, well, not quite months, but a very long while. We were getting ants plenty to begin with. It has neither stopped raining nor started raining. The condition of raining has not changed since we started seeing ants, actually. Also, the last time I saw them, they were going under the skirting board on the opposite side of the outer wall. So they're not coming. Those ones certainly did not seem to be going outside or coming in. They were in the walls. Okay, so then there's use finish. Ants do that? I think they might be from next door, honestly. I'm not sure. The right class here. I should be. Yeah. Okay. Just checking. Generally they go inside during dry times, but they still try to find food. Fortunately for me, when they do try and find food and succeed, they then start swarming, create a trail that leads right back to where I can poison the most of them. I might have gotten a little bit vindictive against these ants, because they're just all over my kitchen. Go away. Try to start. Okay. Try to start. The only way we can get that message. Hang on, we didn't get to the opening UI section. Interesting. Is that because it's on item right click? I wonder. Should I actually be putting the UI section inside of that? I think that might be the problem. Okay. Want to get started with Unity, but you have a question. Is C# any of Unity like normal C#? I wouldn't know. I've never had to try and get to grips with Unity before. But generally speaking, if you've learned one form of C, then you can generally move to any other in the C family relatively easily. Like I started on C. Way back in the days of when I was using... what was it called? Expression 2, which was itself built on Lua in Gary's mod. Way back. Hey Daph, you have 1,000 points. Oh boy, are you about to do a mischief? Also, a lot of people have points because it took me forever to actually put used to them. So, if I change that, it shouldn't affect the other two because they have their own overrides. So then it should just be a matter of, does the, thing work now? You have no clue what you can do? Basically make me sing and dance. For your own amusement at absolutely no cost, in a fashion that does not in any way whatsoever benefit me. They're like bits, but there's actually no benefit to them. Okay, there we go. And if I begin it, it gets removed. Good. Okay. Next question. Did we break anything in here? Apparently, somehow, we did. Okay, so now, because we should be able to eat the deviled egg and such and then see the same screen. So what happened? We clearly got the use action, so that's great. And... because on finish was part of here. So let's just bring that back real quick. And the same up there. Okay. And I don't think we have anything else out here that's particularly needing to be changed. Right. Goes I notice the hook. No, you're just staring at the code. Need to make dab more expensive? I could limit dab, that's a point. But also this is a coding stream, so you know. At a certain point, I have to actually do the thing I'm supposed to be streaming. Okay. So now we should be able to just power through these different things. Let's find out. Okay, so deviled egg. Can start. Goods. Flask of liquid ozone. Can start. Goods. Faustian contract. Can start. Goods. Yay, everything works. Hurrah. So that bug is fixed. So, Fey Witch, Fey Kieran, and Phoenix. Tick that off my list here. Okay. So someone in your workplace wearing a costume like Carol? Oh. Part of me also was thinking is lying in California. Who knows? Not me. Lang would die if he was in California. I would probably have been shot several times over, but who knows. It'd be nice and warm. That'd be something. I'd definitely be able to get away with a lot of my more summery outfits than I can here in Middlesbrough. Okay. Let's see. That's in the works. I just need to actually define what they like do and give and make sure everything works. Implement the Kirin is relatively straightforward. We mostly just duplicate code from the Witch and then create ourselves a nice fancy looking model and texture, so that would take a while. Pact control command to set the pact interior players and stop ongoing endgames. That's probably a good thing to do next. Any temperature over 75 Fahrenheit is too hot. Remember the heat wave last year here in England? That one? Yes, I do. But also here in England, we're not the least bit set up for any kind of heat whatsoever, so we don't have the infrastructure for it. That said, I will quickly look up what 75 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit is. Answer is 23. It was pushing 30 during that heat wave. So, I'm good. I can take that. Temperatures you got then are normal in Florida or California, you would die. I mean, again, we don't have any means of, like, cooling here. Most buildings in California have some form of AC. We hoarded, like, electric fans and the like when we had to deal with that. Okay. So we need to deal with the pacts. With the command. So here we have command pact, and it is not great right now. We can clear, decrements, increment, which is the increase, reduce level, read, set. But we do not have a controller of endgames. So let's add that in, shall we? We want add, we want list, and we want remove. Temps you got then are normal and California. Okay, ACs can die. You're not wrong. Oh yes, I do. If you're familiar with how commands are done, in many cases this is weird. Let's see. Let's add endgame. And then that could be a sub thing, I guess, as well. Because what we need after that is like one or two more things. So let's see. What do I need here? Well, the first thing I need to do is actually identify what the command is. So if argument's length is greater than 4, let's see, we slash pact endgame something. So it should be lower than 3. Run that as a test. You personally lying would die because both California and Florida are home to spiders. Florida in particular has at least one palm-sized species. Oh yeah, that'd kill me. That'd kill me straight dead. No problem. No question whatsoever. Greater question, the greater problem I think for the pact command currently is that your client only knows about what it has like immediate access to. The client is just told what happens. So I probably need to change up that detail so you can actually like know what the server has in mind for you and such, rather than just thinking there's this. That would probably also help if I actually added the pact command to the list of commands. Wouldn't it now? Because otherwise it will not in fact appear at all. California is also home to rattlesnakes who go to sleep right outside your front step, I'm guessing. I require a cat to notify you that there is a 6-year-old snake there. I mean, I'm happy to have a cat. Down with that. I don't know if I could actually, like, afford to live in California. California's being a bit weird as well currently, with its lockdown and such. You wouldn't die, but you would enjoy it. I would die. Let's be real here. I would die. Okay, so /pact. Good, we got those all in there. End game. Say add. And there's a problem. Okay, what is the problem? Do I have a problem with roaches? We don't really get, they exist in the UK. I don't know that I've ever actually seen one personally, but Bag at a grocery store in Canada is essential. Oh dear. We don't have the occasionally, depending on which franchise you go to around here, supermarkets will like bag your stuff up as a courtesy. During this lockdown, obviously that's not the case. You have to bag your own stuff, but generally speaking, bagging your own stuff is a relatively normal thing here in the UK. We don't really have a concept of a dedicated bagger. Like, there's no... That's not a profession. That's an aspect of being a cashier, at best. Let's see, that was 2 arguments, apparently. Oh, right, because it misses the initial one. Of course. Here we go. Okay. So, string sub command equals args 2. I think. Or args, if it's 2, then it should be 1. So then, I don't think we can do a switch on a string, but let's find out. No, apparently we can, except it will be, we probably want to make sure that that's to lowercase. Just to make sure that it stays the right way. Is making Silverfish a potential endgame that someone could put in for the packs? Yeah. The Silverfish fiasco. Yep. There you go. How you doing? Been here a long time but not said anything. I'm not just putting them in as a potential endgame. They're also going to be, like, beefy. Okay, so that should hopefully give us what we're looking for to start off with, and then we just build in the individual actual functions there. Yes, sticks. I'll see you in 10 minutes, everybody. Great, so as we enter our final hour of the evening, we are working on an endgame controlling section for the pact command, which itself needs a little bit of reworking anyways because it's related to older code, much older code. But let's see, if we type pact endgame and we want to say list, for instance, then listing active endgames. Good. Pact endgame adds infestation, sure. Adding endgame, good. And we want to say remove infestation. Also good. Okay, the logs comply with that quite happily. That's not exactly the most exhaustive of testing I could do, but don't worry about it. Okay, so now we want to actually identify some stuff. That's a little bit of a peanut shell, I think, in my throat. Ow. Pizza cake? What? Oh, right, the music, yes. Okay, so from that we need to actually retrieve the world data in order to identify what endgames are active. Fortunately, we do have a world. So sender dot get world, I think, is a thing. Yeah, get into world, there you are. And we need to retrieve the information. Did I put something in that for pacts? Let's find out. Pact endgames. I know I've done something like that for pacts down here. Is endgame active? Requires asking the world save data. There you are. No shame, why did you get this at random? You have apparently been, like, subbed or something. Oh, actually, I believe that's currently the only emote that's available for this channel. That said, there's like 3 or 4 more in the works, so you'll be seeing them soon. So enjoy that. Upcoming. Okay, world saved data. Used points, right? Yeah, most likely. It's temporary, you don't get to keep them, but, well, unless you're a subscriber, which, by the by, if we get another, I think it's like 11 more subscribers, then we get another emote slot to fill. If we get another 15, then I do an entire Dead by Daylight bonus stream, blindfolded. Are you wrong? No. I thought there'd be more than just points. Well, if you're a subscriber, you can use the emotes freely wherever and whenever you like. If you just pay points, then you can use it temporarily here, is my understanding of it. But the points are literally gifted out for free, and there's no economic value to them at all. Oh, mind about me getting decked? What? I think if lying infinite invisible creepers, he'll get decked. Probably not by Kyo, but maybe. Okay, world data dot. Do with actually having the thing open, couldn't I? Because I believe active endgames is private. Yes, there you are. Stick you up there. Okay. Do I have a getter for that? No, I don't. Gonna need that for this. And Lance, I know that my new lighting there irks you. Too bad. I typed this code in a manner that's going to be most readable by the person who has to update it all. We find it funny if he added himself as a guide in this mod. I mean, we have the witch, that's kind of the same thing. So we're just going to print this into the log, and then we can actually detail it into something else. Tavern owner. I could try adding like NPCs from New Helena. Oh yes, the old Dungeons and Dragon Hats campaign. When I was rusty AF. Okay, gonna need that pretty much on all counts here. So plonk that up there. There's an adder down here, isn't there? Is active, get name, register. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Of course. Very smart lying. Is it getting to that hour of the evening already? Set active endgame. There you are. I should really be add, but especially now that we have intensity. Should really do checker there just to make sure that it's actually one that we know about, but for right now it's fine. I should note, removing it only reduces it by 1 step. But I can probably change that. Let's see, args.length greater than free. Then, I'm trying to think, I know there's a way to make an integer out of something. Pretty sure I've done that before. Hang on. Integer.value of, there you are. Okay, so if you give it a name and then also a number, it will do that up to that intensity. Right. When we first found out how much lying cannot hold an accent. Hey, I'm doing pretty good with Artifice's really bad Russian accent. He's not good accent, but he's holding steady. Went all over the British Isles with the Tavernary. Oh yeah, and then some. Oh boy. Literally, the only thing that determines a given endgame's intensity in the world is, it is how many times it's in this list, which actually means I can probably modify those. Maximum was entertaining. Isn't that the point of being entertaining? You're not wrong. endgame intensity of that endgame. But I also need a list so that we don't just repeat them, because otherwise we'll have it like infestation 1, infestation, well, infestation free, infestation free, infestation free. That's not good. So now they should actually do stuff. Not much stuff, and they're certainly not going to be putting it into your chat, but done. Next question, will spiders and silverfish work together in this infestation event? I don't currently have any interaction with spiders for them. Both are affected by bane of arthropods. There are also, of course, the vermin mob type, which is very similar to arthropoda. Messing with mob spawn numbers is a mess, though. Like silverfish I can add because they just show up in places. Oh, so the lightling is apparently the lightling endgame is here. Let's remove it. And list. No more. Good. Okay, so now let's add the infestation one. Let's say 3 times. And then list infestation free. Good. You can barely see this because I'm in front of it all, but it is working. And then if I say remove infestation twice, and then list it, it should be down to 1. Very good. And if I do that again to 2, it should be gone. Okay, grand. Who's Ben? Ben is Pura's pet rat on the patron server. You switch out with the map for the server, Ben will be gone. Unfortunately, yes. That would be something that would happen. Okay, let's start actually adding some, like, feedback to the player on this. Let's see. Could not recognize, I guess. Be a decent start. So if we can't recognize the end game that it's referring to, then we need to actually tell the player that much. So if pact endgames dot get endgame by name equals no. And then we need to send the message. Okay. And the other thing we need there is endgame to add. What chance we'll find a pure white one straight off the bat? I can tell you what the odds are. Let's see, of the regular rat, the statistical odds of finding a white one are 25%. Because they are not weighted. So there is a 1 in 4 chance. Okay. So now when we go through this, we need the actual text component translation, and then we need to put those into a big list. Speaking of building, you need to finish your castle before map swap. Yeah. Also, have your village about 75% completed. Has been fun making a Japanese-style village or town. It can be. Just entry. Yep. Let's see. Format it. Text. Where are you? There. So that should just get us a nice formatted list. And then we need to stick that all together. I think. Let's find out, I guess. List dot success. Yes, there we go. And good, it does allow that. Yay! Get rid of that. If world data dot get endgames dot is empty, then that but fail. Okay, let's give that a whirl. Yes, that's saved. Let's go. Okay. So if we give it complete gibberish, it shouldn't be able to find the end game. It should therefore tell us that it didn't manage to find the end game instead of doing anything. Why did you boot the server? Well, I guess now I can see if I've done anything recently that will cause it to explode. Missing deviled egg? Yeah, sure. Ethanol confirmed. So far, so good. Presumably next load. Meanwhile, I'll just do the client booting. Yep. Happily booted, everything seems. So yay, I haven't broken servers again. Which is a thing I frequently do. Because I usually just testing client because it's a lot faster. 100% quicker to build in creative. Even more if you know commands. As I can tell you from Spring Realms. Okay. Slash pact endgame. List. No endgames currently active. Very good. If we say add Minecraft ducks, could not recognize it. Good. But if we say Phaera lightning, it's in my console right now, but yes, good. And now, good. Phaera lightning 1. Grand. Quick trivia question? Sure, there is a quick queue option for your points if you like. So many times digging a dungeon than having to quickly dig myself out of sudden reappearing blocks. Okay. We should also check up here if it is actually, like, active as well. Pact to get endgame by end name. So if it's null, we do that one. Else if let's see, the world data. Should be able to tell as well if it is active just from the resource location. So command .varant pact .endgame .remove .fail equals endgame is not currently active. What did Loki do in Norse mythology that required him to convince the dwarves to make 6 treasures, one of which was Mjolnir? Heck if I remember. I know Loki did a lot of stuff. Siring Sleipnir, for instance. Where is there a problem here? Ah. World data dot... Is it just get intensity? End game intensity? Yeah. Probably just stick at the start here. That shouldn't cause a problem if it can't identify it there. Okay, so that'll just cap it to be 1 or whatever value you say up to the limit of how intense it currently is. Right. Shaved Four's wife's hair completely off to the point she was unable to regrow her hair. Huh. Wasn't Loki technically mother? No, technically about that. There was a giant attacking the walls of Asgard. It had a big, like, horse with him, or something to that effect. Loki turned into a mare and distracted it. And then a few months later, Sleipnir was born. Yeah. Norse mythology is wild. Okay, so now we should be able to remove pretty clearly what we have here. With the adding, we do want to make sure we're only able to add ongoing endgames. Loki has many kids. Very few of them human. Well, humanoid, I guess. Of course, we haven't even gone to the nitty-gritty yet of what's the, like, tab options are. Let's see... Changeling? Not currently active, so we can't remove it. Good. Let's just list, make sure we got them there. Okay. So say we want to remove that by 3, it's currently only got an intensity of 1. So reduced it by 1 to remove it. Okay. And if we say we want to remove Changeling by 2, we do that. Okay, success. It's now down to 1. If we try to remove Lightling again, it'll tell us it's not active. Okay, perfect. And if we just say Changeling by 1, and then we should only reduce it by 1 because that's the only one that's there. Perfect. Now I need to flesh out the return values from adding then. Settler is kind of big. You know, my dad, our brother, use him like a common steed. It's complicated. We actually want to check out the current intensity there, don't we? Intensity minus equals world data dot get endgame intensity endgame to add. There. So we want to just clamp it so it can't actually go higher than that. Which keeps things nice and tidy. And of course you get Hindu mythology, which is... oh yeah. A lot. It probably does behoove us to actually make a pact here. There's a sentence. So, generally speaking, if you don't give it a number, it'll just increment it by 1, but if you want to give it a big number, it'll limit it to how much before it actually hits the peak. Should be good. Would it 6 hoovers to make a pact? No, it's 6 hoovers to make a Sleipnir. Okay. Endgame add success increased the intensity of endgame blah blah by blah blah. And let's also add a fail here. pact.endgame.add.fail cannot increase the intensity of non-ongoing endgames. Is it not that one that I'm thinking of? Let's find out. Is ongoing endgame. There you are. Okay. So for comparison, the Lightling and Infestation endgames are both ongoing, which means to say that they happen and then they keep happening. The intensity is then relevant for them. A pact that have an endgame that has a maximum intensity of 1 or 0 essentially is considered to be instantaneous, which is it happens and then stuff just like consequences deal with it. But you can't like turn it off because it's not ongoing anyways. Most endgames that use events, like when you break a block after them, are actually like ongoing. 8? 8 hooves for Sleipnir. My mistake. So that one I got. Yep, good. Okay. We should now have full readout of whatever happens with the endgames now. Should, being the operative word here. I could do with sorting the strings, I guess. Entries.sort. Don't recall how I do this. Just leave it for now anyways, it's not a huge concern. So the next thing is the tab completions. Which are a pain in the neck. Okay, so pact, endgame. Let's see, we want to list anything going on. No, not currently. Add Varrod Lightling. Increase the intensity of endgame Varrod Lightling by 1. If we say 3, actually let's say 10, because we know it should limit it. Okay, so we list that, it's now at 4. Good. And then pact endgame remove Varrod Lightling, reduces it by 1 down to 3. If we say remove 10, should just go by 3. Good. Grand. And if we try to add the changeling one, which of course is not an ongoing one, can increase the intensity of non-ongoing endgames. Perfect. And when we actually get to the tab completion section of that, we'll just only list ongoing endgames. Hurrah! So that works just fine. We have full readout of what's going on there. Huzzah! But let's, for purposes of experimentation here, increase the intensity of endgame Varrod Infestation by 6. List it, does 6, good. Just make ourselves enough here that there should be no doubt that we'll actually see some silverfish, assuming infestation is actually running. Trying to think, do I have peaceful on? Nope, I'm on hard. There do appear to be some glitchy blocks here, that's interesting. I should not have done that. Interesting. Ah, I see what's happened here. Okay, I see what happens. It's to do with how I've programmed the thing here. Because I did not actually create an actual like thing here. So let's see. So let's see, system, .out.println line, call this one the health UUID. Random. And then one for the damage. Yeah, it's because the UUID values hadn't actually been created. So the thing was just breaking midway. But it was actually triggering that, which is a good sign. So now we wait for that to show up. It shouldn't take very long. Okay, boot in. There they are. Okay, config VO. Grab that. Stick that there. Grab that. Stick that there. Get rid of that. Save, quit. There, config, general, I think, attribute modifiers, there you are. There's damage, and there's health. Just stick those into there so they're actually there. Done, done, done. Okay, now it shouldn't do that. Now it should actually spawn stuff. Be a nice little way to end out the stream tonight. A sea of silverfish eating me alive. So there's no way to set an initial like end game intensity currently. What I can do is allow you to have actual. Hi there. Oh, ouch. What I can do though, ow, good thing I'm wearing a Ring of Regeneration 5. What I can do though is allow you to have lists of end games inside of your in your configured pacts and such, which will allow you to tack on multiple levels of intensity. Wouldn't be hard for me to actually set, like, say, an intensity value, but it's not a huge thing. As you can see, you do still actually get the stuff, but if you place it back down, and it comes back to stone, then yep, there you go. These guys have 32 health as well. This is a very enchanted sword. Well, it's not made of arthropods, so there's that. But as you can see, they're not actually like getting rid of this stone, despite the fact that it is just regular old stone. Ow. Ow, 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 ow. Ring of Regen, help me. Whoop. But yeah, if you start to trigger high levels of ongoing end games, you tend to get stuff like this happening. But it only happens from stone. Does not happen from ores. But at full capacity, that's like 9 out of 10 times you mine stone, you're going to get it. But if we reduce that, so pact, endgame, remove, Phaera, infestation. Let's see, was it 5? Yeah. If we reduce it to that, then we can get a fair few more in before we encounter silverfish again. Because now it should be down to about 15%. So as you can see, and they're also much less beefy. Yeah. So if you only trigger the infestation endgame once, it's annoying but kind of dealable. See? Didn't even get any that time. But if you trigger it 6 times, oh dear. At that point, you're at apocalypse levels. And I have, like, ongoing endgames aren't necessarily things you can turn off without using commands. Obviously, the changeling ones, you can seal rifts. That'll be a thing you can do when we're done with them. But with the with the ongoing ones, it's more a case of, well, you goofed, ask the admin. I don't know how I'd even begin to program ways that you can just freeform turn off different endgames, short of just not having them be inside of your config. Because again, even the default packs that ship with the game, with the mod, you can change. So there's that. But that's about everything I have for you all today, so hope you've all enjoyed. Next up, we'll be doing some more of our little tasks to get fixed up and whatnot, probably a bit more of the bigger ones. And my next stream is tomorrow at 7. We have some more Dungeons & Dragons Hat secondary campaign, so if you like a really bad Russian accent, then I have good stream for you. And then on Thursday at 9 we have more Monster Hunter World, and on Friday at 9 we have more Vampire, and then on Saturday at 7 we have more D&D, where I'm actually going to be showing my fellows through some dragons, and at 9 we have the random games with a carousel, and then on Tuesday we're back for more coding. Meanwhile, I do make videos at redo.com/comic. There's a bunch of VODs that go up there, as well as a whole ton of videos, especially right now we've got UHC going on, and everything I do is powered by the wonderful people over at Patreon at patreon.com/lying. Hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all as ever next time.